Do you know what happens every single time you walk through your front door without thinking? You are making a decision, and that decision is either pulling wealth toward you or pushing it away. I am not talking about some vague motivational idea. I am talking about an ancient Jewish law of energy that has been guarded for over 3,000 years. Today, I am going to reveal to you the exact practice that Jewish millionaires perform every single time they enter their home. Every single time. No exceptions. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. This is not superstition. This is not folklore. This is a codified system that has been passed down from generation to generation through the wealthiest Jewish families in history. I have spent over 30 years studying the Talmud, the Kabbalah, and the oral traditions that most rabbis will never teach in public. My grandfather was a rabbi in Jerusalem, and his grandfather before him. 4 generations of rabbinical scholars in my family, and the one thing that was repeated to me more than anything else growing up was this: the doorway is the gateway. What you do at your doorway determines what enters your life. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do every time you walk into your home, why it works on a spiritual and energetic level, and how to activate it starting tonight. But here is what I need you to pay attention to. Toward the end, I'm going to share the most critical warning about this practice, something that if you ignore it, can actually reverse everything and pull prosperity away from you. So stay with me all the way to the end, because what I reveal in the last few minutes could save you from a devastating mistake. Let me take you back to when I was 19 years old. I was studying in a small yeshiva, and I was completely broke. I could not afford my books. I could barely afford to eat. One evening after Shabbat, my grandfather sat me down in his study. The room smelled like old leather and candle wax. He looked at me, and he said something I will never forget. He said, "The reason you have nothing is because you walk through every door like a dead man. No intention, no awareness, no connection to the sacred threshold." He told me that for 3,000 years, Jewish families have understood that the doorway of the home is not just a physical structure. It is a spiritual portal. The Talmud teaches in Tractate Shabbat that the entrance of the home is where blessings either enter or are turned away. What you do in that moment, the words you speak, the thoughts you hold, the physical actions you take, they set the frequency of everything that follows inside those walls. My grandfather taught me a specific practice that night. He made me repeat it 7 times until I had it memorized. He told me to do it every single time I entered my home without exception. I did not fully believe it at first, but I trusted him because I had seen the life he built. A man who came from nothing after the war and somehow built wealth that sustained 3 generations of our family. So I started doing it. Within 3 weeks, my entire financial situation shifted. A scholarship appeared that I had not applied for. A distant relative contacted me with an opportunity I never expected. Money began flowing toward me in ways I could not explain through logic alone. That is when I knew this was not just philosophy. This was real. Everything I am teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today because knowledge without action is worthless. Now let me explain why this works at the deepest level. The Talmud teaches that every home has a spiritual atmosphere, what the ancient rabbis called the ruach of the dwelling. This atmosphere is not fixed. It is shaped by what crosses the threshold. The Kabbalah reveals that doorways are what is known as points of transition, places where spiritual energy concentrates and can be directed. Ancient rabbis discovered that these transition points are where you have the most power to influence what enters your life. They codified specific actions and intentions designed to activate that power every single time you walk through your door. This is not magic. This is alignment with universal spiritual law. When you align your actions with these laws, you get results. When you ignore them, you struggle. Write in the comments right now the words, "I welcome abundance." That simple act of declaring your intention is the first step in activating what I am about to teach you. Now I want to talk directly to you because I know exactly what you are going through right now. You work hard, maybe harder than most people around you. You are not lazy, you are not stupid, but somehow the money never stays. Somehow, no matter how much comes in, it finds a way to leave. You have tried budgeting, you have tried saving, you have tried investing in things people told you would work, and still you feel like you are running on a treadmill going nowhere. I know this because I have sat across from thousands of people just like you over 30 years. They come to me exhausted and frustrated, and they all say the same thing. Rabbi, I am doing everything right, but nothing is working. Here is why conventional methods fail you. The first problem is that budgeting and saving treat symptoms, not causes. You are trying to manage the water coming out of the faucet when the real issue is the pipe feeding it. The Talmud teaches in Pirkei Avot that wealth is not about accumulation, it is about flow. If you only focus on holding money tighter, you are choking the very channel through which it comes to you. The second problem is that most investment advice is built on fear. People invest because they are afraid of the future. Fear is a repellent in the spiritual realm. The Talmud is very clear about this. Anxiety about tomorrow destroys the blessings of today. You cannot attract abundance while radiating fear. It is a spiritual contradiction. The third problem is the biggest one of all. Nobody taught you about the spiritual dimension of wealth. Not your parents, not your school, not your financial advisor. They taught you the mechanics, but ignored the engine. Imagine trying to drive a car by only understanding the steering wheel, but knowing nothing about the engine underneath. That is what most people are doing with their money. They understand the external mechanics, but they are spiritually disconnected from the source. Here is the lie you have been told your entire life. You have been told that wealth is purely a function of effort and luck. Work hard and hope for the best. But in my 30 years of studying the ancient texts, I can tell you with absolute certainty that is not how it works. Jewish people understood this thousands of years ago. That is why, despite being less than 0.2% of the world population, Jewish families have built and maintained extraordinary wealth across generations, through persecution, through exile, through the worst conditions imaginable. It is not because of some genetic advantage. It is not luck. It is because they knew the secrets that most people will never learn. The Talmud teaches in Tractate Nida that 3 things are determined before a person is even born, and one of them is wealth. But here is what most people misunderstand about that teaching. It does not mean your wealth is fixed. It means the potential for wealth is already placed within you. Whether you activate it or not depends entirely on whether you align with the spiritual laws that govern it. The ancient rabbis codified these laws into specific actionable practices, and the one I am teaching you today is among the most powerful of all. Everything I am teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today, because knowledge without action is worthless. Animación. Mostrar cómo hacer clic en el enlace de la descripción o primer comentario para llegar a la página del libro. In my years of teaching, I have personally witnessed people go from drowning in debt to completely financially free within a single year. People who had given up on themselves, people who thought they were cursed. All they did was follow the ancient instructions. They trusted the system. They applied what I taught them, and their lives changed in ways they never thought possible. Every single one of them started with exactly what I am about to teach you now. Let me give you the foundation of this method. The practice I am revealing today comes directly from a combination of Talmudic teachings and Kabbalistic traditions surrounding the mezuzah, the doorpost, and the threshold of the Jewish home. For thousands of years, the doorway has been considered the most spiritually significant part of any dwelling. When the Torah commands in Deuteronomy chapter 6 to write the words upon the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, it is not just a decorative instruction. It is a commandment to activate the spiritual power of the entrance. The ancient rabbis expanded on this and developed specific practices around how one enters and exits the home, because they understood that the threshold is a point of concentrated spiritual energy. This is not a game. This is not something you do casually. When you walk through your door with the right intention, the right words, and the right physical action, you are activating forces that have been in operation since the creation of the world. I am simply the messenger bringing you what was taught to me and what was taught to my grandfather and his grandfather before him. What makes this practice different from anything you have tried before is this. First, it operates at the spiritual level, not just the physical. You are not just organizing your finances. You are aligning your home with the frequency of abundance. Second, it has been proven for over 3,000 years across every economic condition imaginable. Jewish families used this during times of empire and during times of exile. It works regardless of your external circumstances. Third, it requires your active participation. This is not a passive wish. You have to engage with it mentally, verbally, and physically every single time. Fourth, the results come fast, not in years, in days and weeks. Fifth, you do not have to be Jewish to benefit from this. Universal spiritual laws work for everyone who aligns with them, just as gravity works, whether you believe in it or not. The Talmud teaches that the Creator does not withhold good from anyone who walks in truth. You are about to learn how to walk in truth every time you enter your home. Now let me walk you through the preparation. The best time to begin this practice is in the early morning. Not because it cannot be done at other times, but because morning carries the energy of renewal. The Kabbalah teaches that each morning the world is recreated, and the first hours of the day carry the most potent spiritual charge. Before you begin, you need to clear your mind of anxiety, resentment, and distraction. If you are angry at someone, if you are obsessing over a problem, pause. Take 7 deep breaths. The number 7 is sacred in Jewish tradition, representing completion and divine order. Set a clear intention in your mind, not a vague wish, a specific declaration. Something like, I am aligning my home and my life with the flow of divine abundance. Hold that intention clearly, and then trust the process. Do not question it halfway through. Do not analyze it while doing it. Just do it. Here are the elements you will need. The first element is salt, specifically sea salt or kosher salt. In the Talmud, salt is associated with preservation and covenant. When 2 parties made a covenant in ancient Israel, they shared salt. It represents an unbreakable agreement between you and the divine source of wealth. Salt also purifies. It cleanses negative energy that accumulates in doorways from the stress and negativity you and others carry in and out every day. I have personally witnessed people who simply placed salt at their entrance and reported feeling an immediate shift in the energy of their home within 24 hours. You need a small amount. A pinch is enough. Do not overdo it. The power is in the intention, not the quantity. The second element is olive oil. Olive oil has been sacred in Jewish tradition since the time of the temple. It was used to anoint kings, to light the menorah, and to consecrate holy spaces. The Kabbalah teaches that olive oil carries the energy of wisdom, specifically the wisdom that leads to material prosperity. When you use olive oil on your doorpost, you are anointing your entrance the same way the ancient priests anointed the holy vessels. A single drop on your finger is all you need. Pure olive oil, not a blend, not cooking spray, pure extra virgin olive oil. The third element is your voice. This might surprise you, but your voice is the most powerful tool you possess. The Torah teaches that the entire world was created through speech. The Creator spoke, and the world came into being. Your words carry creative power. When you speak specific words at your doorway, you are literally creating the spiritual conditions for wealth to enter your home. I have seen people who changed nothing else in their lives except the words they spoke at their entrance, and within weeks, their financial circumstances shifted dramatically. The fourth element is your right hand. In Jewish tradition, the right side represents chesed, which means loving kindness and the giving force of abundance. When you touch your doorpost with your right hand, you are physically connecting your body to the spiritual channel of prosperity. The ancient rabbis were very specific about this. The right hand activates, the left hand receives. You must initiate the flow with your right. Now here is the exact procedure, step by step. Step 1. Before you approach your front door, stop. Stand still for 3 seconds. Most people rush through their door thinking about 100 different things. That rushing energy is chaotic, and it scrambles the spiritual field of your entrance. Stop. Be still. Let the chaos settle. In those 3 seconds, consciously shift your awareness from whatever you were thinking about to this single thought. I am about to enter my sanctuary. Step 2. Place a pinch of sea salt at the base of your doorway on the right side as you face the door from outside. As you place it, say quietly, or in your mind, Creator of all things, purify this threshold. Let nothing impure or destructive cross into my home. Let only blessing and abundance enter. The salt will absorb negative energy that has accumulated. Replace it once a week, every 7 days. 7 is the number of completion. Step 3. Take a single drop of olive oil on the index finger of your right hand. Touch the upper right corner of your door frame. As you do this, say, I anoint this entrance in the name of wisdom and prosperity. As oil flows, so shall abundance flow into this home without ceasing. You do not need to leave a visible mark. The amount is tiny. It is the act and the words that carry the power. Step 4. Place your full right palm flat against the doorpost. Feel the surface under your hand. Close your eyes for just a moment and visualize a golden light flowing from your hand into the doorframe and spreading throughout your entire home. See every room filled with this warm golden light. The Kabbalah teaches that visualization is not imagination, it is spiritual architecture. You are literally building the energetic structure that will house your abundance. Hold this visualization for 5 to 7 seconds. Step 5. As you step through the doorway, lead with your right foot. This is very specific and very important. Your right foot crosses the threshold first. As your foot crosses, say, I enter in peace. I enter in prosperity. I enter in the fullness of divine blessing. These words are a declaration and a commandment to the spiritual realm. You are not asking, you are declaring. There is a massive difference. Asking implies you might not receive. Declaring aligns you with the certainty that it is already done. Step 6. Once you are inside, take a deep breath and say thank you. Just those 2 words. Thank you. Gratitude is the most powerful frequency in the universe. The Talmud teaches that a person who enjoys anything in this world without a blessing is considered as though they have stolen from the Creator. Your thank you is your blessing. It completes the circuit. It seals the energy you just activated. Now, everything I have shared with you today is powerful, but I want to be honest with you. This is just a fraction of the complete system. In the ancient wealth code, I lay out all 10 principles step by step, principle by principle. What you have learned in this video is 2 of those 10 principles. The remaining 8 go even deeper, and some of them are the most transformative teachings I have ever shared. The link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. If this video has opened your eyes, the book will change your life. Animación. Mostrar cómo hacer clic en el enlace de la descripción o primer comentario para llegar a la página del libro. Let me tell you what to expect. Within the first 24 hours, you may feel a subtle shift in the energy of your home. Some people describe it as a lightness or a warmth. Others notice that they sleep more deeply the first night. Do not dismiss these signs. They are the first indicators that the spiritual atmosphere of your home is changing. Within 3 to 7 days, pay attention to unexpected things. A phone call you were not expecting. An opportunity that appears out of nowhere. A debt that suddenly gets resolved. Money coming from a source you had forgotten about. These are not coincidences. The Talmud teaches that there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is orchestrated by a higher intelligence. Within 30 days, if you have been consistent and faithful with this practice, every single time you enter your home, you will see a tangible, measurable shift in your financial situation. I have witnessed this hundreds of times, and it never stops amazing me. Now, I need to give you the critical warnings I mentioned at the beginning, and please do not skip this part. This is where most people fail. Warning number 1. Never enter your home in a state of rage or hatred while doing this practice. If you are furious at someone or consumed with resentment, do not perform the ritual. The Talmud teaches that anger drives away the divine presence. If you anoint your doorway and speak the words while your heart is full of poison, you are essentially inviting that poison into your home and amplifying it. I went through a period in my 40s where I was in a bitter dispute with a business partner. I was so angry I could barely see straight, but I kept performing the entrance practice out of habit, without cleaning my heart first. Within 2 weeks, everything in my life started falling apart. My health, my finances, my relationships. It was only when I stopped and realized I was violating the most basic spiritual law, that the channel must be clean for blessings to flow, that I corrected course. I spent 3 days in prayer and forgiveness before I resumed the practice, and when I did, the recovery was swift and powerful. Warning number 2. Do not tell everyone what you are doing. This is not something you post on social media for attention. The Kabbalah teaches very clearly that sacred practices lose their power when they are exposed to the energy of skepticism and jealousy. The evil eye is real. When people who do not understand or who are envious of your growth become aware of your practice, their negative energy can interfere. Keep it between you and the Creator. You can share this video because the teaching itself is meant to reach those who need it. But your personal practice, your personal results, guard them. Warning number 3. Consistency is everything. Doing this practice once or twice and then forgetting about it is worse than never starting. The Talmud teaches in Tractat Beracho that a commitment made and broken creates a spiritual debt. When you start this practice, you are entering into a covenant with the divine source of abundance. If you break that covenant carelessly, you are sending a message that you are not serious, that you are not trustworthy, and the flow of blessing will be redirected to someone who is. I have seen people get incredible results in the first week and then stop because they got lazy or distracted. Within a month, they were worse off than before they started. So hear me clearly. If you are going to do this, commit to it. Every single time you enter your home. No exceptions. There is a deeper principle at work here that I want to share with those of you who are still watching, because you are clearly serious about transforming your life. The Talmud teaches in Tractate Yoma that the way a person acts below determines what is released above. This is one of the most profound spiritual laws ever articulated. It means that your physical actions are not just physical, they are triggers for spiritual forces. When you perform the entrance practice, you are not just going through motions. You are sending a signal upward. You are demonstrating to the universe that you are intentional, that you are reverent, that you take your prosperity seriously, and the universe responds in kind. I came to truly understand this principle in my 50s after decades of studying and practicing. There was a period where I became complacent. I was financially comfortable. I thought I had arrived. And slowly, without realizing it, I started cutting corners. I would rush through the door without stopping. I would skip the words. I would forget the salt for weeks at a time. And within 6 months, my investments started failing. Opportunities dried up. Clients disappeared. It was my wife who finally said to me, "You have stopped honoring the threshold." I realized she was right. I had stopped doing the very thing that had built everything I had. I returned to the practice with renewed devotion, and within 90 days the tide turned completely. What I have witnessed over 3 decades of teaching this principle is nothing short of extraordinary. I have seen single mothers go from living on government assistance to running their own businesses within 18 months. I have seen men in their 60s who had given up on ever being financially secure discover streams of income they never imagined possible. I have seen young people in their 20s who started this practice early build wealth that their peers will not achieve until their 40s or 50s. They all had one thing in common. They simply trusted the ancient wisdom and followed the instructions. Not sometimes, every time. And this matters now more than ever. Look at what is happening in the world right now. Inflation is squeezing families everywhere. Markets are unstable. Analysts are warning about economic uncertainty through the rest of this year and into the next. The cost of living keeps rising while wages stay flat. People are afraid, and I understand that fear because it is real. The economic pressures are real. But here is what I need you to understand. Jewish families have survived and thrived through far worse, through the destruction of the temple, through exile in Babylon, through persecution across Europe, through every economic collapse of the modern era. They survived because they had a system that transcended economics. These principles are your anchor when everything around you is chaos. They worked 3,000 years ago, and they work today because spiritual law does not change with the stock market. Let me bring everything together for you. Today you learned 3 critical things. First, your doorway is not just a door. It is a spiritual gateway that determines what kind of energy flows into your life and your finances. Second, there is a specific practice involving salt, olive oil, your voice, and your right hand that activates the prosperity frequency of your home every time you enter. Third, this practice demands consistency, purity of heart, and discretion. Violate any of these 3 requirements, and you will not get results. You will get consequences. You now have the exact method that Jewish millionaires use every single day of their lives. This is not theory. This is practical proven wisdom that has been tested for over 3,000 years. You are not weak for seeking this knowledge. You are wise. The Talmud teaches that the wise person learns from everyone, and the fool says, "I already know enough." The fact that you are here, that you watched this far, tells me something important about you. You are a seeker. You are someone who refuses to accept the status quo. You are ready for a transformation that goes beyond what the world told you was possible. The Creator helps those who help themselves. That is not just a saying, it is a spiritual law. You have 2 choices right now. Go back to walking through your door like a dead man, unconscious, reactive, spiritually disconnected. Or start tonight. Apply what I taught you. Enter your home with power and intention, and watch what happens over the next 30 days. But remember this: do not use this recklessly. Do not use it with wrong intentions. Do not try to manipulate the energy for selfish gain at someone else's expense. The universe sees everything, every intention, every motive. The Talmud teaches that a person is measured not by what they achieve, but by the purity of the intention behind their actions. Keep your intentions pure.